What if I tell you that your regular white bread or your favorite packet of chips isn't just bad for your health, but can actually shorten your lifespan? You would think I'm talking crazy, but this isn't me. It's Harvard University, which has stated some shocking findings from its study. This particular study was conducted for over 30 years and tracked 114,000 participants, highlighting the risks associated with consuming ultra-processed food. Now, what are ultra-processed foods? Are they different from the processed ones? Definitions vary, but ultra-processed foods, as defined by one diet classification system called NOVA, sums it up as snacks, drinks, ready meals, and many other products created mostly or entirely from substances extracted from foods or derived from food constituents with little if any intact food. Simply put, they are industrial formulations made from substances extracted from foods, food constituents, or synthesized in laboratories. That way, they can be cheap, convenient, and tasty, but they may have lots of refined carbohydrates, saturated fats, and salt. They also tend to pack a lot of calories into each bite. That means you're likely to eat a lot before you feel full. Although the NOVA system authors assert certain additives may be unsafe, many additives used in the food must pass safety tests by the FDA, and when it comes to ultra or highly processed foods, manufacturers prefer to make taste, cost, safety, shelf life, and mouthfeel the priority. Before we get to know how it can shorten our lifespan, let's know how food becomes ultra-processed. By most definitions, the changes that turn a regular processed food into an ultra-processed food occur in the final stage of food production, called tertiary processing. Let me tell you the stages of food production so that it can help you independently determine how processed a food is and what your standards are. The primary stage involves basic preparations such as removal of inedible parts of grain, cleaning steriles, and parboiling. Secondary processing includes baking, freezing, fermentation, and frying. The final level of food processing is all about convenience. Often, extra sodium, sugar, fat, and additives like color and flavor are added in this step. Frozen meals such as pizza, lasagna, or stir fries are some examples of it. So, to identify an ultra-processed food, you can look for cosmetic additives listed at the end of the ingredient list, such as flavor enhancers, sweeteners, thickeners, carbonating, and glazing agents. For example, a plain yogurt is minimally processed. Yogurt with sugar is processed, and yogurt with added flavors, colors, and additives is ultra-processed. But what are these ultra-processed foods doing to your body? How can it be so dangerous that it could lead to a shorter lifespan? We know that ultra-processed foods contain additives and ingredients not commonly found in home kitchens, such as artificial sweeteners, colors, and preservatives. These foods that are high in saturated fats and lack nutrients and fiber. And eating a diet high in ultra-processed foods causes people to quickly gain weight and increases their risk of cancer, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, anxiety, depression, and dementia. But the alarming findings of the research that went on for about 30 years were that people who regularly consumed ultra-processed meats faced a 13% higher likelihood of premature death. And if you are consuming those diets high in sugary and artificially sweetened beverages, you can see a 9% increase in the risk of early death. The researchers identified 48,193 deaths, including 13,557 deaths due to cancer, 11,416 deaths due to heart diseases, 3,926 deaths due to respiratory diseases, and 6,343 deaths due to neurodegenerative diseases during an average 34-year follow-up period. So, what can we do to protect ourselves and our loved ones? The answer lies in adopting a whole food-based diet rich in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. By choosing real unprocessed foods, we nourish our bodies and reduce the risk of chronic diseases. Cooking at home goes a long way toward reducing consumption of ultra-processed foods. Restaurants, especially fast food restaurants, are notorious for tinkering with their recipes to achieve a certain flavor which could involve using less than nutrient-dense ingredients. And if you want to consume less of ultra-processed food, a diligent label reading can help you choose products with limited ingredients. But in some cases, getting unprocessed whole food isn't that simple, whether it's an issue of affordability, availability, or accessibility. Still, you can likely make small changes to tweak the amount of ultra-processed food in your diet. Here's a chart to help you make some nutritious swaps. For example, sweetened breakfast cereals are ultra processed and you can switch to a processed one, for example a plain bran cereal, and a home version, oatmeal made with rolled oats and sweetened with honey. For a white bread, you can switch to whole wheat bread with minimal ingredients or a homemade whole wheat bread. For an energy drink, you can switch to processed version, which is sweetened fruit juice, or the home version, which is fresh squeezed orange juice. So the next time you head to the grocery store, read labels and add foods to your shopping cart that have ingredient lists of things that you recognize. Let's make informed choices about what we eat because our health is worth it.